gentlemen, lights out and away we go at Laguna Seca for round 6 of the touring cars. This one obviously the feature race of the evening. Looks like Andy C leads down towards turn 1, takes out a couple of the cones. Diabetic Lamb there has got Wilfredo Flowers side by side with him into turn 1. Looks as though Wilfredo gets pushed out a little bit wide there. Grandad Steve's up into third place, the Nuts following him through. Wilfredo getting a little bit wide there onto the dirt. He's going to have Falguest on his outside. Looks like Nick Davila, there's Smoky Devil, Joe Black, Pete Bibb and DJ Phil at the back of this field. But Andy leads ahead of Diabetic Lamb. These two bumper to bumper coming out of the exit of turn 4. Diabetic Lamb all over him. Look at him trying to find a way through if he can. The Nuts in the background there has also got Grandad C attacking him for 3rd and 4th places. Then you've got Falguest just ahead of Smoky Devil. Looks like Falguest is trying to clear away from that train. We've got Smoky just ahead of Wilfredo Flowers. Wilfredo trying to get back onto him if he possibly can. Nick Davila, there's Joe Black, Pete Bibb and DJ Phil at the back. As Nick Davila there was trying to up and move there, and Wilfredo Flowers couldn't do it into that left-hander. Diabetic Lamb has taken the lead of the race off of Andy. Looks like Andy's got a little bit out of shape through that previous corner there. He's dropping back places left, right and centre here. Diabetic Lamb leads ahead of the Nuts, Grandad Steve, Andy in 4th ahead of Falguest, then Smoky Devil, Wilfredo Flowers. There's Nick Davila all over the back of Wilfredo Flowers out of the exit of the corkscrew. Joe Black, Pete Bibb and DJ Phil running in P11 still in this race, but Diabetic Lamb has got the Nuts within a second of him as these two, the Nuts are going to see it, trying to get onto it. Oh, as we see a big slide in the background there. That was Andy there getting out of shape. He's now down to P6. Falguest and Smoky getting up ahead of him there. Now he's got Wilfredo Flowers all over the back of him, coming out of the last corner onto the start-finish straight. Diabetic Lamb has pulled out over a second of a gap here at the front over the Nuts. So the Diabetic Lamb looking very good in this race so far. Needs to keep this one together. The Nuts there has got Grandad Steve on the back of him into turn 1. Grandad Steve's got that one done up the inside, I think. Yes, he has. The Nuts with a big lock up there, loses out on that P2. Grandad Steve up in position. Falguest is on the back of these guys as well. Smoky Devil, Andy. There's Wilfredo Flowers, Nick Davila, Joe Black still running in 9th place with Pete Bibb and DJ Phil out of the back. Coming into this one, Falguest, the championship leader, winner of the sprint race earlier on tonight, so he knows that he needs to keep consistent and keep that championship lead going the way it is at the moment. He needs to keep getting podium finishes every single race, week in, week out. We've got Diabetic Lamb still leading this race right now at the moment though here at Laguna Seca. He goes very wide there out of that left-hander, but keeping it on the track just about. Grandad Steve's got the Nuts and Falguest in hot pursuit up the hill, and he's about a second back in 5th place there, just keeping these guys reasonably within sight. But he's got Smoky Devil not too far behind him as well. Diabetic Lamb though still leading by 0.6 of a second ahead of Grandad Steve, half a second back to the Nuts as this train of cars still battle it out. Oh, Nuts very wide all over the dirt there, and Falguest is going to look to the outside. Is he going to be able to get this move done and coming out through the penultimate corner? He's going to have the inside for the final corner as the Nuts really pushes him wide there. Falguest muscling his way through into the final corner they come. They're going to be side by side on the exit, but the Nuts got a better exit out of the corner down to the fact that he was able to take a wider line through the corner, and in the end holds on to that 3rd place just about, as he now defends to the inside coming down towards turn 1. Is Falguest going to look to the outside? No, he's going to look to the inside here. The Nuts leaves the space on the inside. Falguest just tags the dirt a little bit, rides over the curb, but he gets himself up into P3 there. Beautifully done there from Falguest, upper position. And the Nuts has now got to defend from Andy and Smoky Devil, who are hot behind his field. No, he knows. In fact, he's going to be back up the inside here ahead of Falguest. Incredible stuff there from the Nuts. I completely forgot that bit happened, but he's back up the inside and even to push him a little bit wide there. The Nuts back up into 3rd place ahead of Falguest. Now Andy and Smoky Devil looking to the inside. Is Andy going to be able to make this move here on Falguest? No, Falguest defends to the inside, coming in towards turn 5. Smoky still can't do anything with these two, as Falguest there holding that inside line, and the Nuts has just had a chance to just regroup and push on a little bit, whilst these two behind him, these 3 even, battle it out for 4th place. Oh, he's very wide there, the Nuts all over the dirt, and that's going to give Falguest, Andy and Smoky Devil the positions there up into 3rd, 4th and 5th places respectively. Andy hassling in the back of Falguest right now for 3rd place. In the background there you got Nick Davila and the Nuts currently going at it, but obviously the Nuts filtered back in P7, so not the situation that he would have needed at all. You got Joe Black there, who's got ahead of Wilfredo Flowers up into 8th place. DJ Phil and Pete Bibb running in 10th and 11th places at the moment in this race, but Grandad Steve leads by just under a second ahead of Diabetic now at the moment, out of the final corner to complete their 3rd lap of the race. Grandad Steve looks like he's got the control of the race at this point, but it can all change so quickly here in the blink of an eye. Diabetic Lamb running in P2, Falguest and Andy currently running bumper to bumper here. Let's drive on board with Andy and see what he's seeing as he's coming up towards turn 1. In fact, let's run on board with the view that he actually uses, which is this one, and see exactly what he would have seen what I would have seen, sorry, in this in particular instance. But for the time being, Falgus has held on to that position there. Looks like he's parking his car in all the right places, not allowing me to get that move done. Smoky Devil in the background there, watching this unfold, hoping that he can feast on these scraps if these two crash into each other or anything. Nick the Villa in the background of this is on the back of the Mutts Nuts. These two running in 6th and 7th places right now. They're 3.5 seconds clear of Joe Black and Wilfredo Flowers running in 8th and 9th places. And you got Pete Bibb still on the back of DJ Phil. As we can see here, Falgus, bit of a lock up there coming through turn 5, but still holding on to this position for the time being. The Smoky Devil very wide there in the background, all over the dirt, just keeping it on the grey stuff narrowly, but that was so close to tears there for Smoky Devil. Once again kicking up a bit of dirt. He's dropped him off on the back of Falgus and Andy now, and he's very much falling back into the clutches of these two, Nick the Villa and the Mutts Nuts. Mutts Nuts hasn't had the race, has he, so far? As he, oh my goodness, what's he doing? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that happened. Wow, wowee. Definitely taking a bit of advantage through the corkscrew there. Grandad Steve still leads ahead of Diabetic Lamb right now, 6/10 between these two. Coming up towards the final corner, Diabetic Lamb lights on, signalling intent to Grandad Steve, letting him know he wants this lead, he wants this win here in this feature race. Diabetic Lamb, the championship leader in our Clio Cup, hasn't had the same rubber to green in these touring cars so far this season, but he's very strong on a Saturday night in the Clios, and he's up there fighting in this feature race with Grandad Steve. These two just kind of left the rest of them a little bit. And what's happened to Falgus? Oh no, Falgus, oh, he's in the pits, he's in the pits. Okay, no, never mind. Falgus is in the pits, so he's presumably just getting that pit stop done and out of the way. That's promoted Andy up into 3rd, Smoky Devil in 4th, and Nick the Villa in 5th. I tell you what, I think I'm suffering from amnesia, because I was racing in this race, as you can see, but I literally have already forgotten what happened. It's quite incredible. Grandad Stedo running in the lead of the race by 4/10 of a second at the moment. I'll tell you what, you definitely do look at the races differently when you're... I feel like I'm watching this for the first time, because I haven't really seen a lot of the action. I only saw it from my own point of view. This is the point of view that I watched this race from. It's this point of view right here, with my G29 steering wheel in front of me and on my desk. And this is the point of view that I saw the race from. So all of this that I'm watching right now, I'm quite literally watching it for the first time. This is like I'm commentating on a live race. It really is. But Smoky Devil's still running in 4th place, just a little bit ahead of Nick the Villa. Nick the Villa, big lock up there coming into the corkscrew, just about keeping it together for the time being. You got Wilfredo Flowers running in 6th. He's got just about a second here to Joe Black. Joe Black keeping him on his toes. Joe Black riding high in the championship in these touring cars coming into this. Sat 3rd in the championship behind Falgus and Grandad Steve, so he's still in contention in this title race. Took his first win here at Motive in the touring cars in the sprint race at Kota. Oh no, as we see there, Wilfredo losing the car. He's round penultimate corner. Is DJ Phil going to come through? He is, and so is Pete Bibb. Pete Bibb's in the pits though to make his mandatory pit stop at the end of lap 5, but Wilfredo Flowers has had a mare there, and he comes into the pits to save his blushes. Not the moment that he would have needed there at all. Andy also in the pits, as is Diabetic Lamb, and Diabetic Lamb's just on the exit of the pits now. DJ Phil comes through to take the provision near that final podium spot. Nick the Villa takes the lead ahead of Joe Black. DJ Phil in 3rd place. So the drivers to have pitted so far: Diabetic Lamb, Andy, Grandad Steve and Falgus. These 4 are most likely going to fight out the finish to this feature race. These 3 have all now made their pit stops and are good to go to the end of this race. The Mutts Nuts in the background also in the same boat on the back of Falgus right now, so we'll be looking to try and bring himself into that fight if he can. Smoky Devil running in 9th place at the moment. That could be as high as, I reckon, P6 once all is said and done with the pit stops. Oh no, the Mutts Nuts has lost it. Mutts Nuts is in the wall on the exit of turn 4. Oh, what a shame there for the Mutts Nuts. He's going to fall back into the clutches here of Pete Bibb, as Pete's just coming around the end of the first sector there. So the Mutts Nuts having an absolute horror show there. But Nick the Villa leads this race at the moment. Still yet to make his mandatory pit stop here on lap 6 of this race. 9 laps left to go, 6 laps in. When's he going to make it? He's going to come in now. He dives into the pits to get that done. Joe Black's also still yet to make his pit stop, as is DJ Phil. Is Joe Black going to pull the trigger this time around? No, he's staying out for the time being. DJ Phil very wide there on the exit of the penultimate corner, and he's going to come in, is he? Yes, he is. He brings it in now. So Diabetic Lamb, the net race leader, coming around the final corner, about to complete the 6th lap of the race. In the background of this, there's the man in net 2nd place, Andy CWFC. You've got Grandad Steve running in a net 3rd at the moment, I believe, but currently 5th out on the track. In fact, no, 4th now, because Nick the Villa and DJ Phil both in. Falgus, your net 4th man, currently in 5th place at the moment, and Nick the Villa looks like he's emerging in P6, so that will be a net 5th place once everything is all done and dusted with the pit stops. Smoky Devil running in 7th place right now. The Mutts Nuts, Pete Bibb, DJ Phil and Wilfredo Flowers rounding out the field here in that BMW. But Joe Black leads by just under 3 seconds out the front to Diabetic Lamb. Diabetic Lamb has obviously made that pit stop. Joe Black hasn't, so Diabetic Lamb is your net race leader, as we've mentioned a couple of times over the course of this race. The Mutts Nuts running in 8th place at this point in the race. He's currently got Pete Bibb closing up onto the back of him here. Mutts Nuts really hasn't had the race, has he? So far it's been a catalogue of disasters. One disaster to the next for this man here. Very quick driver. It's very solid in the touring cars and the Clios and the GTEs, but this just has not been his season so far. Seems to be in a bit of a rut at the moment, and hopefully he can pull himself out of it, because I know that the Mutts Nuts is one of the best drivers on project cars too when he's on his A game. He's currently got Pete Bibb really hassling the back of him though for 8th place as they're coming out through this left-hander up towards the corkscrew. Pete Bibb a little bit too far back at the moment to go for the move. I think he's going to have to wait, bide his time a little bit before he wants to get that one done, as the Mutts Nuts is going to be in no mood to concede that position, that is for sure. The Diabetic Lamb is currently in 2nd place, net race lead. He's 3 seconds off the back of the actual race leader at this point, Joe Black, who's still yet to pit. Gap between Diabetic Lamb and Andy's coming down a little bit. Andy was 1.4 seconds on the previous lap, but Grandad Stee was quicker than either of these two. Look at this, Grandad Stee's a man on a mission right now. He was 7/10 quicker than Andy. He was over 2 seconds quicker than Diabetic Lamb, so Grandad Stee's really flying at this point in the race. Falguest in the low 1 minute 30, so he's not really on the sort of pace that we've come to expect from Falguest over the course of this season. Really, the championship leader is Falguest. Don't know if he's got a little bit of damage on his McGann, which is maybe holding him back ever so slightly, but just doesn't seem to be the same sort of fire that we've seen from Falguest over the course of this season. Diabetic Lamb, though, your net race leader, has now got Andy crawling over the back of him here as they're coming up the hill towards the corkscrew. Let's jump on board with Andy and see what he's seeing. Is he going to be able to try and make a move on Diabetic Lamb coming through these next series of corners? I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get on with this as soon as he can, with Grandad Stee hunting these two down in the background there. But for the time being, Diabetic Lamb holding Andy at bay by the skin of his teeth. It's going to be a good battle here for the lead of the race. These two look like they're going to be going at it here with half distance already gone in this feature race. They've already made their mandatory pit stops. This is to the end between these guys. Grandad Stee in the background there, definitely closing the gap to them as they're out onto the start finish straight now. Diabetic Lamb and Andy CWFC separated by nothing here. Andy's going to look to the inside, pulls out that slipstream here. Oh, a bit of contact there between the two of them. Oh no, as he hits the cones a little bit. Down towards turn 1 they come. Andy's going to keep it pinned on the inside. Diabetic Lamb very wide on the exit of turn 1, and I think that is the move done there for Andy. So that's the net race lead there up into P2. Still side by side all the way up towards turn 2, but I think Andy's got that done up into P2 there. And Grandad Stee is now all over these guys as Andy very wide there onto the dirt, but keeping it together, keeping it just about on the grey stuff. Grandad Stee's now all over Diabetic Lamb here. These three guys about 6-7 seconds clear of Falguest. Looks like he's dropping off the pace a little bit in this race. These three guys only 3 seconds off for the leader, Joe Black, who still has to pit in this race. He hasn't made his mandatory pit stop. He needs to make it at some point. Grandad Stee's down the inside here of Diabetic Lamb. I think he's got that done up into 3rd. Yes, he has. So that's it. Oh no, and Andy's wide. Andy's onto the dirt. Oh my goodness. And that is Grandad Stee and Diabetic Lamb up into 2nd and 3rd places respectively there. And Andy there having an absolute horror show. He's down to 4th place in this race. Was net 3rd with Joe Black still yet to pit, but that's gone horribly wrong there for him. And Grandad Stee still got Diabetic Lamb all over him as we're on lap 9 of 15 here. 6 laps left to go in the feature race for round 6 of Motive Racing's Touring Car Championship. Race 12 of, no, not race 12, I do apologise, race 7 of the season. Obviously we've had 3 rounds where we've had 2 races, we've had 3 rounds where we've had 1 race, so this is race 9. This is race 9 of the season. So in towards turn 1, Grandad Stee still has the net lead of the race ahead of Diabetic Lamb. Andy's trying to reel them back in again after that little skirmish on the previous lap. You've got Falguest running in 5th place. Seems to be dropping off the pace a little bit of the leaders at this point. Pete Bibb and the Mutts Nuts separated by about a second. Pete Bibb's currently got that P8 within his grasp, but the Mutts Nuts isn't going to get this one up, I'm sure of that, as Wilfredo Flowers in the background of this. Bit of a rivalry between the Mutts Nuts and Wilfredo. Those two have had their fair share of controversies in the GTEs. Hopefully in these touring cars they can keep it clean and stay out of trouble with each other, because I know that they've had a little bit of a to-do in the past, but these cars obviously very different, and hopefully they don't clash, their driving styles don't clash as much as they do in the GTEs. But Joe Black currently running in the lead of the race, just under 3 seconds is his gap over this pack of cars, which involves Grandad Steve, Diabetic Lamb and Andy CWFC. Valgas there running in 5th place, just a little way off of these guys at the moment. Looks like he's just not really making the inroads that I'm sure he'd want to be making at this point in the race. He's a couple of seconds clear of Nick Novello, who's driving a great race here in this feature race. Bit of a gap back to Smokey running in 7th, with Pete Bibb, the Mutts Nuts, Wilfredo and DJ Phil rounding out the field at the moment in this race. This is a bit of a change up for me. Obviously I usually do the commentaries live, but this one is actually a post-race commentary. I know the result, I know what's about to happen, but at the same time a lot of this action I haven't actually seen, so I am kind of watching this from a refreshed point of view, having never actually seen some of this action. I've seen it from my own point of view, but some of the action that's going on out on track, like for example Falgast and Nick Novello and Pete Bibb and the Mutts Nuts, and even some of the action that I was involved in, I didn't really get the proper vantage point from it, because obviously when you're racing you're more focused on what you're doing and how you can get past the guy in front of you, for instance right here like Diabetic Lamb. So it's definitely a different point of view that I'm watching it from right now, so I'm able to still provide that live feel to what's going on. But Diabetic Lamb's still keeping Andy C behind him at the moment by 0.4 of a second up towards the corkscrew. Andy a little bit too far back to go for the move at this point, but he's still hassling him, still keeping him under pressure, hoping that Diabetic Lamb might be able to make a mistake over the course of the next couple of laps, as we've got 3 and a bit laps left to go here at Laguna Seca for round 6 of the touring cars feature race here at Motive Racing. And Grandad Steve now all over the back of the race leader Joe Black. Joe's going to come into the pits, I think, is he? Yes he is. Joe is into the pits now, so he's making that pit stop. These 3 guys have all made their pit stop, Grandad Steve, Diabetic Lamb and Andy, so they're all good to go to the end, and this is now for the win between these 3 drivers. Who's going to get this one? Grandad Steve, obviously in the championship battle with Falgast, knows that this is a big opportunity for him to really gain some points, with Falgast struggling down in 4th place in this race. So now Grandad Steve's got to really take the ball by the horns and take this opportunity in it with everything that he's got. Falgast has got Nick Novello now really pressuring the back of him for 4th place as well, so this could get tasty between those 2. Grandad Steve still leads, and he's got ahead of Diabetic Lamb up into 2nd place, so now he can try and chase down the race leader Grandad Steve if he can. Diabetic Lamb still running in 3rd place at this point, still doing Diabetic Lamb still running in 3rd place right now, 1.5 seconds off of the leader Grandad Steve, as Andy spitting these 2 in 2nd place at the moment. Oh, as we see Diabetic Lamb very wide there onto the dirt, all over the place by the looks of it, just getting it back onto the track there. That was nip and tuck for Diabetic Lamb. That was very close to tears there for him, as he, oh my goodness, Diabetic Lamb's out of the race. Oh no, he's gone straight into the wall there, coming through the corkscrew. Diabetic Lamb has retired the car. Oh my goodness, he looked like he just didn't brake there for the corkscrew. I don't know what was going on there. So that has just taken one of the drivers battling for the lead out of this one. So it's now between Grandad Steve and Andy for this race win. That's such a shame there for Diabetic Lamb. He's now out of this one prematurely. 3 laps left to go here at Laguna. It's Grandad Steve and Andy who are going to fight out this finish. 8 tenths between them in towards turn 1. They're 8 seconds clear of 12 seconds clear of Falgast, who will now be running in 3rd place with Diabetic Lamb's retirement from the race. Falgast is a couple of seconds clear of Nick Novello running in 4th place, so that's giving him that bit of respite. It's giving him that opportunity to just regroup and bring it home for that final podium spot. But he knows that Nick's not going to give up in this one, that is for sure. Grandad Steve leads the race by just under a second to Andy CWFC at the moment. These 2 have been going at it for lap after lap after lap. They had Diabetic Lamb in between them for a few laps, but Diabetic Lamb, with that crash coming through the corkscrew in the previous lap, has now taken himself out of that battle, and it's now very much between these 2 for the race win. Joe Black's currently running in 5th place. He's 3 seconds clear of this man Smokey Devil. He's got a couple of seconds further back to Pete Bibb, who in turn has got a couple of seconds back to the Mutts Nuts, running in 8th place. Then you've got Wilfredo Flowers in 9th, DJ Phil a little way behind in P10, and Diabetic Lamb obviously retired from this race on lap 12. But Grandad Steve coming through the final couple of corners here on lap 13 and 15 with just over 2 laps left to go here at Laguna. It's going to be between these two for the race win. Who's going to get this one? I think I know the answer, but I can't say just yet because unfortunately I'm supposed to be doing a live commentary here. This is supposed to be a reenactment, or supposed to be like a live commentary, but I have a feeling I know who's going to win this one. I can't tell you just yet though. Grandad Steve into turn 1 has the lead by 8/10 of a second. Andy on that previous lap was a tenth slower than Grandad Steve, so Grandad Steve looks like he's got the pace at the moment to win this race. He's definitely got the ascendancy with track position, and he's currently got a bit of favourite for this one, but Andy's not going to give up until the very last lap, I'm sure of that. Joe Black running in 5th place. He's got 4 seconds back to Smokey, who in turn has got just under a second back to Pete Bibb. Oh, as we see there, Smokey very wide out of the last corner. Pete Bibb and Mutts Nuts very close behind here, coming over the line to complete their 13th lap of the race. 2 laps left to go for these guys, as now Pete Bibb's looking to get this move done on Smokey. Looks to the outside in towards turn 1. Can he get it all the way around the outside of him? Smokey's going to cover that inside line, and there's no way around for Pete Bibb at the moment. Smokey holds on to that P6 for the time being. The Mutts Nuts looking to try and get himself onto the back of these guys and get himself involved in this scuffle if he can, but at the moment Smokey and Pete Bibb still just ahead of him, as you were between these guys. There's now the battle for the lead's really heating up. Grandad Steve and Andy out the corkscrew here with a lap and a bit left to go in this feature race for the touring cars at Laguna Seca here at Motive, and it's Grandad Steve and Andy 2/10 between them coming into the penultimate corner. Andy looked like he really gained quite a bit coming through that middle sector there. Grandad Steve defending to the inside line as Andy's trying to get it around the outside here, out onto the start finish straight, about to start the final lap of the race. This is going to come down to the last lap, last corner, I feel, between these two. Grandad Steve's led this one since Diabetic Lamb's premature demise a few laps ago. These two have been fighting it out since the pit stops. They've been pretty much tied at the hip all the way. Last lap, Andy gained 8/10 of a second on Grandad Steve. Let's have a look at the fastest laps if we can. I don't know if we can actually. I don't think we can, because this is a replay, so we can't see the fastest laps. We don't know who's got the fastest lap of the race at this point, but I'm pretty sure I saw Grandad Steve do a 1:27 in the early stage of the race, so I know he's got the pace here. Andy very wide coming out of turn 4, needs to not do that if he wants to win this race. All over the curb there, looking for a way around him. Grandad Steve defending to the inside, up towards turn 5. Can he keep onto this position as Andy's looking all the way around him, looking for the cutback if he can, but the cutbacks doesn't present itself. Grandad Steve parking his car perfectly on the inside. Andy trying to find that gap, but he just can't do it. Throws a little feint to the inside in towards 6, can't do anything about it. And Grandad Steve's wide onto the dirt. Oh no, Grandad Steve's off. He looked like he just got caught up a little bit there. Andy squeezes through into the lead of the race, and Grandad Steve loses out on that lead on the final lap of the race. What a shame there for Grandad Steve. He was leading that for a lot of it. I don't know if that's going to be a steward's inquiry. It looked to me like a bit of a racing incident. I'd obviously say that, but I do believe it sincerely was. But Andy CWFC is coming in towards the final few corners, and it's going to be a win in the feature race here for him. Been a while since Andy's won a race in the touring cars here at Motive, because he's well, he didn't race in them for a few months, but here he comes to take the win here at Laguna Seca. Great battle there between those two, Andy and Grandad Steve. Andy takes the win ahead of Grandad Steve. Nick the Villa is going to come around to take a podium spot. So Falguest dropped off the podium in the final few laps there. He's now down in P5 in this race. That's gone horribly wrong there for Falguest, and that's a real shame there for him as he's coming in towards the final few corners now. That's really gone Pete Tong there for Falguest. Don't know what happened. Nick the Villa takes third place. A great podium there for him, racing as a reserve tonight. A late standing. Joe Black coming over the line to take a P4 here in the feature race tonight at Laguna. It's going to be Falguest over the line to take a P5. The championship leader losing points to his championship rival Grandad Steve here. The Mutts Nuts coming over in P6. Pete Bibb 7th. Good result there for him. Wilfredo Flowers is going to come around the final few corners, and it's going to be an 8th place finish for the man in the BMW, the only Beamer out on the field tonight. Hats off to him. A bold choice. Not easy when in a field full of McGanns to make the Beamer work, but Wilfredo Flowers has done absolutely brilliantly here and finishes just ahead of DJ Phil. Wilfredo Flower in 8th, DJ Phil 9th. Smokey Devil finishes the race in P10. Not the result he would have wanted here, but some good points nonetheless. Diabetic Lamb retired a long way out, and that is that then, ladies and gentlemen.